Hey there. I guess I wanted to make a dev commentary of this game, even though I guess nobody really cares about it or nobody really talks about it. But yeah, I've always wanted to make a dev commentary type video, but I never really had a game to do that with. So I guess now I do have a game, and I'm like 4 months late now to making the dev commentary. And well, I guess let's just get right into it. First off, the there you go. The first room here was like the bulk of the complaints with the game, at least as I saw from streamers playing the Secret Santa version. And yeah, it was definitely like way too hard. I definitely had a bit of a moment there with dev muscle memory because yeah, there was no tutorial, there was no anything, no saves. Actually, like at some point, I actually had a save there, like right at this point here, but but I didn't like the restarting music, which is just like the restarting music here is just kind of a just kind of an artifact of how the music system works, how like it fades into another song. It fades into the combat version when you're in an arena. But yeah, and so because of that, it kind of can't have it non-restarting. So yeah, I didn't like that. So I removed the save, which in retrospect was a terrible idea. But yeah, like no, not many people really care that much about restarting music. They care more about not having really fucking hard gameplay. And I guess for me, it wasn't that hard because well, first because dev muscle memory, and second because I play a lot more action platformers than I do I guess pure platformers like fan games. Like I play a lot of Mega Man X, Mega Man, and it's just a lot of Mega Man in general, I guess. Yeah, stuff like that. And because of that, I think I had definitely like some more advantage in that case. But yeah. Oh yeah, about the crimson blocks here. They're literally just a random decision. I thought it would be funny to have crimson blocks, so I kept them in. They're not for like any reason. Ah, yeah, and this part here, I forgot. I almost forgot about it. This is the only needle in the game. It's kind of poking fun at, uh, I guess in a way, it's kind of poking fun at fan games in general, even though I love fan games. But yeah, it's just kind of like terrible needle. It's just fucking three jumps, now four jumps, and then yeah, and then you go into fucking arenas. It was definitely here, both as a bit of a joke, and also to like you kind of fall down here, and you see the needle, and you think like, oh, this is probably gonna be like a weird needle game or something, like gimmicky needle or whatever. And then you like step into here, and it's a fucking arena shooter, and you're like, what? What the fuck? What's happening? That's incredible, isn't it? I think I really wanted that specific moment to happen, and I saw it a decent bunch with some streamers, so it was definitely funny. And yeah, hmm. Yeah. With the original version being like way too fucking hard, I made a tutorial sign here, which is basically, hold on, where is it? It's right here. Yeah. The intro sign here, I tried to make it as non-verbal as possible, which I think I talked about. But yeah, I think it was definitely a fun challenge because like the game's mechanics aren't that hard to explain, but I didn't like text signs. Just like press Z to shoot, press X to make a shotgun blast. Fucking touch blood to heal HP and shit like that. So you just kind of get this sign and like you see the things here, and it works. Yeah, I think the only part that is kind of ambiguous is this part here because it could be a directional movement or a directional shooting, but because you fucking fall down there, you're not gonna think, oh, I press the arrow buttons and then I move. No, you're gonna go like, it's a directional shooting because there's gravity and shit, and not RPG movement. So yeah, I think it was definitely fine to have it a little ambiguous. The people I asked about it who didn't know fan games thought it was a directional movement, but yeah, because you just fall down, you just make that connection very easily. Also about dashing, I had the idea for dashing like before. Shit, I don't remember when it was. I think it was like when I came up with the general idea of the game. That it would be like, yeah, that would be like an arena shooter into fishing, and then Pong, and then it's done. It's very much like, yeah, a quick and dirty thing. It's just, I think the way I implemented dashing here was pretty good. But yeah, I definitely didn't have time to implement dashing in the original version, and I think adding dashing through enemies and projectiles and stuff, yeah, the balance of the game definitely became a lot better with that. So hold on, let me. Yeah, okay. The balance of the game was kind of horrible at the start, but now it's definitely like way easier, or at least not like fucking hard. You'll definitely have some trouble adjusting to the arena shooter gameplay if you're not really like if you're not really good at that, I suppose. But yeah, because of dashing, you kind of have like one more tool to not die, and the attacks are very, how do I say, they're very punishing in this game because like one hit from anything will deal like 25 damage and you have like 100 HP. So you can at most survive. Yeah, you can at most survive like 3 hits if you don't heal. But if you do heal a bit, it's 4 hits. Still, that's pretty low amount of hits. So yeah. I think, yeah, I think that's all I have to say about the intro menu. All right, now about before I go into the secret stuff, I want to go into fishing real quick. The fish. Yeah. The fishing was definitely just added in as a joke. Like it was really funny to me if you just got done with the fucking hard ass arena shooter, and then you went down the elevator expecting something like a boss fight, but no, not the elevator. You went down the like shaft at the right side expecting some kind of boss fight, and then you just saw fucking fishing. I thought it was really, really funny. And same thing with Pong, which, yeah, it's literally 2 objects here. This guy, yeah, and the paddle. The paddle is also the simplest shit ever. Like, look at this. they're not even like two different paddle objects. It's one, but I have like the type of paddle here as a variable. So I just set one to 0 and another to 1, and there you go. Fucking done. And yeah. What else? Where was the thing? Ah, yeah, here. The no, where? Ah, right. I remember now. Yeah, I actually just where was the thing? Yeah, here. I actually modified the like default fire demo object to have like my own backgrounds here. So, yeah, right here. These guys here. And yeah, it was definitely quite funny. I think I like the Bing Pong um, joke here because it's just so over the top. At least like the music and the visuals, and like one of the parts definitely about it is that like you kind of can't see at the bottom. That was definitely part of the challenge, I think, with Bing Pong. At least no, like the challenge in the gameplay. I mean, that was definitely the big challenge with Bing Pong here. And this is actually cribbed from like. Hold on a minute. This here is actually cribbed from an early build of how do I say this? I guess an early build of a game that I'm making now, the game that I'm developing right now, which is actually quite similar to this game in gameplay, but also very different. I guess you'll just have to see when that happens, and yeah, no, I'm not gonna make any promises though, cause I'm just kind of a lazy fuck. But yeah, it might take like a billion years to for me to actually release that game. So yeah, I'm not gonna really say anything about it because I don't really have much that I can say that wouldn't just that I wouldn't like change in the future possibly. So yeah, I don't want to give like bad expectations to people. All right, now into the real fun part, the the secret boss that I added in 1.1. This was definitely like the bulk of the development time of 1.1 was just making the secret bosses. This here, I think the golden dirt took me like what fucking 1 hour or whatever, something like yeah, something like that, or even less than that probably, around like 30 minutes maybe. But yeah, it's definitely a secret here. So you get the dirt, and if you go below, I think it's let me check. I think it's below 50 or 40 HP or something. If you go below that amount, you if you go under below 25 HP actually, you just lose the dirt. I thought about making it like if you die, you lose it. But that was just kind of too easy for me. And like this was actually because it's optional, I decided why not to make it like a real challenge, at least like a challenge for me, the guy with the dev muscle memory. So, yeah, it's definitely a challenge. I yeah, I'm kind of awkward at speaking if you couldn't tell. But yeah. Hmm. What else do I say about this guy? I'm not sure there really is anything else about it. I mean, it's just kind of a way to bring back the original's difficulty. Um, yeah, the original games, the original version's difficulty, where you had no saves and shit. So, yeah. Speaking of saves, I don't remember if I actually already mentioned this right now, but yeah, this the original version had no save here because of the restarting music, and I really didn't like restarting music, so I thought it would be okay to just like nick the save there, which ended up being a bad idea because yeah, when you make a game that is unique like this, where like basically no other fan game has gameplay like this, I'd say, well, you know, I guess Justice Guy and like I guess like fucking Justice Guy and I think Best Guy 4 as well have gameplay that is kind of similar to this, where it's they're not really arena shooters, but they're definitely games where you shoot enemies more than platforming. At least like Best Guy. Justice Guy has a bunch of platforming, a bunch of, if I'll be honest, kind of stupid platforming. But yeah, I think I'm gonna get some shit for that. But whatever. I don't really like the platforming in that game. I much prefer the shooting and shit. Yeah. I'm a very much action platformer guy. So what else? Ah, right. The where is it? Ah, here. The hard thing. There's hard right here. There's a hard mode to the game, which I think is called Player Kill that I added in 1.1. That one I didn't actually beat. I haven't actually beaten the game in Player Kill mode. I just kind of added it because I guess I wanted to have some challenge there, some more challenge. I really like challenging what you call it, challenging action platformers where you shoot enemies and shit. You know, action platformers like Mega Man. You know, Mega Man. Yeah, and I think player kill mode is definitely a bit overkill. Funny, yeah. It definitely goes a bit overkill with the difficulty here, like because I don't think I could actually unlock. I didn't actually be. Bleh. I wasn't actually able to unlock the secret boss in player kill mode, but I was able to beat this the first. I guess the first room, yeah. I was able to beat the first room in player kill mode, but not the yeah, but not unlock the secret boss. And hmm, what else? I guess that's really it. Bar from the actual main topic here. Well, the secret boss. It's basically, well, if you know Ultra Kill, you already know this. So, it's basically just cribbed from the game. It's the P1 bosses from Ultra Kill. So, if you haven't seen that, definitely go look it up. They're very cool bosses. And that's the reason I decided to replicate them here. And they're definitely not the, I guess, the exact same. Yeah, they're definitely not like the exact same AI, or at least like very similar AI. No, the AI is quite similar, but it's not like a perfect translation. Just because, you know, translating 2D, no, 3D to 2D is it's kind of scuffed. So, yeah, I definitely had to make like a bunch of compromises here with um with exactly how things work, and Well, this part here, the boss here was basically just like a bunch of it was just a bunch of playtesting, honestly. A bunch of playtesting and debugging. And the Dirt Prison actually didn't take too long to make. I think it took me like at most about a day. So yeah, that sounds about right. I think it was at most about a day, but then like for the main part, but then the polishing actually I don't remember how long it took, man. It's been like 2 months, but yeah. What else? Hmm. I guess I don't really have much to say about the third prison. It's just kind of like a boss. It's just like the 2D version of the flesh prison. So yeah, it's kind of it's not really the main course of the secret boss. The main course is actually this guy, Dirt Prime here. He is a mess. He is such a mess. God, this guy was easily the worst part. I wouldn't say the worst part, but the most annoying part of making 1.1. I wanted to I wanted to have the secret boss in the first place because, well, first to like reward people who carry the golden dirt to the end, because if you played Celeste, you kind of know what to do when you see this guy, and you think, oh, it's like the golden strawberry. So yeah, it's kind of like a reward for people who get there, but it's also the golden dirt is also kind of like the gatekeeper of the the third prison and the third prime, because this guy is really hard. It actually took me like quite a while to get consistent at him, and yeah, it took me quite a bit to really get consistent at this guy because he's just hard, and I made him hard because I guess I just kind of wanted to. So yeah, I wanted to make like I've always wanted to make a boss for the game here. Like the original idea, I think, was have an arena shooter and then have like a third boss, which at first it was just gonna use like fucking stupid ass memes. Like, yeah, I was gonna use like a bunch of videos that I downloaded off Twitter as attacks, which would have been really funny, but the issue would have is that that would have taken like a billion gigabytes of storage space. So yeah, it definitely it was definitely an ambitious idea, but I ended up not doing it specifically because it would take a lot of storage space, and that's just not fun. People don't want to download like a game that is like fucking 1 gigabyte or something. So yeah, I think so. I replaced that idea with the fishing mini game and Pong, but then I decided when I was making 1.1, which was originally just going to be like a hotfix for the first room to make it like not terrible, or at least not super hard, because I still think the original first room is fun. Like it's fun gameplay, but it's definitely way too hard. So yeah, I think yeah, I wanted to keep that challenge, and so I wanted to keep that challenge and revive the idea of having a boss. So I ended up making this guy and the third prison. So I think with this guy right here, hmm, he was definitely the one that had like the most, I guess, translation errors here, because making Minos Prime in 2D it's kind of rough. Like, I don't yeah, you kind of just only know this if you try making it yourself. Like, if you try to remake Minos Prime in 2D, or at least like to translate the boss fight into 2D, it kind of falls apart at like the seams. It's not really, it's very much translatable, but it's gonna have some errors here. Like, for example, I think this attack here, thy end is now, the this attack here, I definitely had the most translation errors with, and also these two here, the uppercut and the overhead, because I didn't actually implement the AI, or at least I didn't really implement the AI that fucks you over if you like stay in the air too long. So I made my own version of that, but yeah, it was definitely not the same as Ultra Kills. So that is a bit of a translation error, because uh, I don't actually know how that works. Like, that's not really documented. It's just like you go in the air and like he uses the uppercut and then he does an overhead on you, and then like you don't block it and you're dead, and there you go. And uh hmm, what else here? Really, I think that's pretty much it in terms of things I have to say about this guy that aren't just gonna like get into the very specifics of the code, which I kind of don't want to get into, because like you see this, right? It's a mess. This code is very much a mess, because, well, it's just kind of what happens when you have like complicated bosses like this. So yeah, really, I guess the last thing I could talk about is, ah, there's actually one thing else I could talk about. The Yeah, this guy here. I think this is probably the most complicated code I've written so far, and it's not super complicated. It's basically just these two functions right here, and like fucking around with a bunch of arrays. So this here is the function that, no, this here is the object that controls how the tiles in the boss fight works. These tiles right here, the flesh tiles. Um, yeah, it's definitely, I definitely wanted like an effect kind of like in the game, where if you go into the level and you just look down, you see how the floor just kind of like pulses and writhes around, all disgusting like. So I kind of wanted something like that, but and this was the first idea that came to mind, but it definitely, it was definitely kind of difficult to wrap my head around this, because I'm not very, I'm not super uh, I'm not super smart for this kind of stuff. I mostly just do like uncomplicated, no, like non-convoluted functions, but like convoluted code, I guess. I've definitely gotten better than I was like a year ago. But yeah. Really, I think that's really just about it in terms of things I have to say about this game. There's not much else here. Right, yeah, this I guess one last thing here, the secret sign here, which is just here as like guides for the no, where was it? Ah, wait, no. No. I swear. No, where was the menu here with both the I don't think I'm gonna find it, but there are menus here that show you like I'll show you strategies on how to beat the bosses here because they're definitely hard, but it's not really fair if I just don't tell you how they work because there are some very esoteric things about each boss, like the dirt prison healing from the mini dirts. That's definitely not something you'd figure out by your own, or at least not something you'd figure out by yourself by just playing the game. Or like when you see the dirt for the first time, you wouldn't figure out that like, oh, he's gonna heal from that if I don't kill him. So yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I think that's really just. I don't have much else to say other than yeah, this was a cool project to work on. Um, it was definitely 1.1 at least was definitely very convoluted to make, but it was very fun at least. And I also had a lot of fun making the original game as well. So yeah, this is this isn't really a substantial game. It's just kind of it's like half a joke and also half like a fun game. I think I am a little sad that like nobody really talks about this game, but I don't really mind it that much because there's way better games out there, and I've also got better things in the works. So this game, I think the biggest thing of value this game gave me was experience with, I guess, finishing a game. Because, yeah, I'm very much the meme of like, start a new project, get to the middle, get bored, and then start another new project, and repeat on and on. And yeah, I definitely never really liked that. So I wanted to make, I guess, a quick air quotes thing because it ended up taking like 2 weeks of, yeah, like 2 weeks of coding, like, I think pretty much every day for, I don't know, it was 1 week of coding pretty much every day for the original game, and 1.1 also took like about a week of coding and like I think a couple more days of playtesting and debugging. I definitely procrastinated a lot with the original game and 1.1, but hmm, yeah, I guess that's all really I have to talk about. I don't have I'm not really thinking of anything else here that I haven't already said like in the readme or already said to people or something like that. So, yeah, I guess that's about it. Yeah, bye.